down, 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 down,
We as a people, as a nation, as a community, have suffered too long at the hands of substance abuse and addiction. And if we as a people, as a nation, do not take this matter in our hands and do something about it, then we have nobody to blame but ourselves. And that's what this program is about. I'm Dr. Bynum, and this is Open Eyes, where we bring to our community, our viewers, some of the best tools to address the substance abuse problems in our community by combining the best evidence-based practice with the living word of God. My guest today, I want to welcome you, gentlemen. Take time to introduce yourselves, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Eugene Lorick, and I'm a KSAT T.
Welcome, brother.
And I'm David Logan. I'm a KSAT 2.
And I'm Tracy Moore. I'm a KSAC 2 clinician.
Okay, welcome, brothers. Today's topic today's tips is on overcoming addiction denial. It's one of the biggest barriers to people receiving treatment. And basically, there's two types of addiction denial. When the addict knows they have a problem, but flat out lies about it. The second one is when the addict's pretty much blind about the problem. And there are basically three stages of addiction denial. Stage one, an addict refuses to accept having the disease of addiction and physically dependent. Therefore, they are unwilling to accept the complete absence is required. Okay, so in this stage, they're refusing to accept they have addiction, and that absence is required to address that disease, that problem. Okay, so what I want to do is come up with some tips, some do's and don'ts. As a family member, as a friend, trying to break past that barrier of denial, all right? Some do's and don'ts. I'm talking to you. My brother is in the grips of addiction. He's he's in some state of denial about how serious it is, or even if it is a problem. What are some do's and don'ts to move the person closer to the line of treatment?
Well, like I said before, I think that the person that's blind to it has to come to the reality and accept that they have a problem. If they don't acknowledge, accept, they are never going to be able to address the problem. Most people start out in recovery in pre-contemplation mode, not seeing the problem. But as time goes on, they reach the contemplation mode. They start to realize that, drugs has impacted my life in some areas, But in the beginning, they are just ambivalent, riding the fence, really wanting to stop at some point, but still wanting to use. So, that's the discrepancy.
Okay. Do's and don'ts to move the person across the line, or closer to the line of acknowledging, or mainly acknowledging.
Person has to surrender first. What I mean by surrender, they got to surrender to win.
Okay.
Admit that they were powerless over their addiction, that their lives have become unmanageable. And once you do that then recovery is then possible.
Right. So I'm asking, how do I get them to that stage of acknowledgement? What you said is true, but how can I get them to acknowledge that truth? But first they have to acknowledge that they have a problem. So I'm trying to get them to acknowledge the problem. What can you do? Do's and don'ts.
Well, I think a person has to be sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Right.
And I think once they get to that stage and can see for themselves that they're in need some type of help to get better and not live that life of denial anymore, then maybe a family intervention can intervene. You can get your neighborhood, or if they have some type of spirituality about themselves, have the preacher intervene. If they're working and and what their addiction is impeding their job, you don't want your job to know what you're doing. But then again, if they risk losing their job by being late to work, oversleeping, or just not going, that can impede them. So some of the dues would be for them to see some of these things that's impacting, like weighing the pros and the cons, the benefits of using, if there are no benefits, but the benefits if they discontinue their use. What is the consequences of their use, and what could be the consequences if they discontinue their use. Those are some of the pros and cons of some do's and don'ts, I believe.
So I want to keep it on this side. There's two sides to this question, this equation. It's them and it's me, the family member. What am I going to do to bring them closer to the line, right? Not what they're going to do. What am I going to do to help them turn the light on? Most everything I'm hearing is what they have to do.
What I get from this here and the way that I can address this here, due to the fact that I cannot do this for them, the only thing that I can do is to keep dropping the subtle hints, keep showing them by example of what living a drug-free life can do. But as far as, I can't give this to them, but what I can do is show them what a drug-free life would look like if they decided to do this here. But I can't give it to them.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. What can I do?
Well, as a family member, I believe, as me being a family member, I can show them tough love. That's tough love helps.
That's right.
You're not going to enable them
That's right.
anymore to continue in the path of being an addict.
That's right.
If you got to close the doors and not let them in until they get their act together, that's something that I can do.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. Anybody else?
I believe that they definitely have to be educated on the harmful effects of the drugs. In addition to also, like he said, you got to show them tough love. But at the same time, like he said, you can't do the work for them. They got to do the work. I just can walk side by side with you and assist you and try to help you in your self-efficacy to recover, but you have to do the work at the end of the day.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to give you some do's and don'ts that I've worked on. As I said, I formed the question, so I'm going to have a few things here I'll share with y'all and share with our audience. Do not judge or emotionalize the person. Do not judge or emotionalize, okay? And why is that important? Not to judge or to get them all stirred up.
I think that's always important, that you should never judge. You should always use unconditional positive regards and never abuse, humiliate, or neglect. It's about you being supportive, non-judgmental, because if you start judging and neglecting and abusing and humiliating them, you just leading them on to continue to use. Because if they feel like you're not really trying to help them and you're their adversary, they're going to be like, I ain't got nobody care about me, so I might as well continue to do what I'm doing.
You know what? I didn't want to get too deep, but now that you went down there, right, I'm going to have to say this, right? So when you judge, right, or attack, you attack the individual's identification. And when you attack what I identify with, my ego is going to rise up and defend that. So you're going to push me deeper in opposite direction that you're trying to get me to go. And that's the ego's job. Whatever you identify yourself as, that's what the ego is going to defend. If you say I'm a crackhead, my ego is going to defend that. You call me a crackhead, my ego is going to jump up and say, but I'm a good crackhead. I can shake and bake it and bake it back. I'm good at it, right? Start out broke, go through $1,000 just like that. So the negativity, the judgment, pushes the person deeper into the grips of denial. So it's possible not to judge. And then when a person gets emotional, right, what happens when they get emotional. And I'm laughing because I'm going to tell you a little something. And I can't even say it on air. But, so, when I get emotional, it affects my hearing. You know how it affects my hearing?
Well,
I can't hear a damn thing.
that's right.
So that's why emotions, you don't want to emotionalize them. You don't want to beat them down. You want to, easy going. With respect, with love, care, and patience. Because they are in a grip, in the fight of their lives. It's spiritual, it's chemical, it's normal. They're going from abnormal to normal. The brain has restructured. The body is dependent on it to feel normal. All right? So that's a big, big battle right there. Let me see. I'm going to hit one more, and then we're going to take a little break and come right back at the same point. And also, shame and guilt will drive you. I'll need to self-medicate. All right? Right? I don't want to feel the pain or shame or guilt. That's a horrible psychological feeling. So you beating me down, talking about me. You ain't no good. You like your daddy. Okay.
Shame and guilt is definitely a good one.
Yeah.
Because I believe that guilt is feeling bad about what you've done, and shame becomes you feeling bad about who you are.
Amen.
You get to the point where you can't even look at yourself in the mirror when you're brushing your teeth.
Amen. Ain't nothing like a good narcotic to take
help
away
erase all that.
All that. Right? So at this point, gentlemen, we're going to take a little break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more tips, all right? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Thomas. I'm a practicing psychotherapist with Woodford Thomas Group in Tampa, Florida, here to discuss the warning signs of an alcoholic. When we talk about alcoholism, you want to talk about it on a continuum of use, misuse, abuse, and dependency. When we talk about alcoholics or alcoholism, we're really talking about alcohol dependency. We're not talking about misuse or abuse of alcohol. So what are some of the warning signs? When we talk about dependency or alcoholism, we're looking at the behavioral symptoms of the disease. When we look at the behavioral symptoms, we're looking at, one, does the individual require more alcohol on a regular basis to achieve the same effect? In essence, what we're talking about is tolerance. Also, some of the warning signs of alcoholism does the individual, when they drink, have significant withdrawal symptoms? And the withdrawal symptoms can be everything from a hangover all the way to psychosis. Now, certainly with the hangover, which oftentimes people who abuse or misuse alcohol also can have a hangover, but we're looking at the frequency and the duration of these pieces. Other warning signs of alcoholism is, does the individual tend to blow off major role obligations such as work, school, family commitments? Another component of alcoholism, does the individual tend to take a lot of risks with their alcohol, such as driving frequency? Certainly risking their own health, but other people's life and health as well. And another component or another warning sign of alcoholism, does the person tend to surround a lot of their activities around alcohol, meaning that do they tend to kind of avoid doing anything that doesn't have alcohol involved, not just social, but even in some work environments. These are the typical warning signs of alcoholism. I hope this information has been helpful to you. From Tampa, Florida, I'm Dr. David Thomas.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. Talk with your doctor to create a treatment plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Don't, 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 don't.
Hey, welcome back. We're going to continue with our tips for overcoming addiction denial. We had stopped at a point. We were talking about some do's and don'ts when we're trying to get a person to come to the realization that they have a problem with addiction. And we had just mentioned not to press them or emotionalize them, make them angry by criticizing them, critiquing them, putting them down, shaming them, making them feel guilty, which push them deeper. Another thing that can help somebody move them closer is boundaries. And I think you had mentioned that too. Acceptable and unacceptable things that I'm just not going to put up with. You know, I don't want you to come in my house with no drugs. I don't want you to come in my car with no drugs. In fact, I don't want you to come around me under the influence of drugs. And why is that? Because you and me, and it hurts me down to my soul to see you like that, suffering like a slave like that. You know, I respect your choice to use, but don't do that when you come around me or the family. You know, I would appreciate that if it's possible. You know, like that. Even if you could just sustain for 5 minutes, come, because we need your presence. We want to support you, but we can't have you in our circle around the children like that. You know, we love you down to the bone. We die for you. So boundaries is very important. And all we want to do is move them slowly. We can't make nobody. You already mentioned, don't enable, don't rescue, and let them experience the full consequences of their actions. Okay? And why is that important? Why is that important? That we allow them to wear it all out. I mean, get to the full consequence of addiction.
Because if you don't let them get to the full consequences of their addiction, they will continue to justify their use, minimize their use, because in their thinking, you know, it's not a problem because their life has not been impacted to the point, and they start looking at how, you know, well, I'm not like this person, but that's a yet for them.
Okay.
It slows down on the enabling them. You do it like you're not enabling them. You're letting them see. Let them see the full consequences of their actions. By them not being able to see the full consequences of their actions, they know that when this here part comes, let's say for example, the jail come in. When they see that the jail comes in, but they can continue to write you a letter and get you to send them gifts so that they can live comfortable in jail. Well, I done made messed up here, but I can get back here by doing this here. I had a person one time tell somebody when they went to jail, they had asked this here particular person to send them a package. And what that person said to them was, I thought I paid taxes for you to get 3 hots in a cot.
That's right.
That right there woke that person up.
There it is. So, I agree 100%. And also, I like to use the equation like an example. It's like a box in the ring, right? They have these ropes there. Now, the ropes, he's taking a beating, and the ropes is actually holding the person up. And the longer he's standing up, the longer he's going to take a beating. And I have him say, as soon as I land on my back, as soon as I can stand up. Let him lay out, and that's from that point. Where's the go but up? Right? You're holding him there, and he's taking a beating. And then when he OD, you're part of that problem. Now you got guilt on your hands, right? Now, another thing is offhandedly plant seeds. I'm trying to move you. This is what I'm doing. They're not going to do nothing. So what can I do? Offhandedly plant seeds, and that's what you had said earlier, right? Plant seeds and give them time to grow. Time is very important. This might take forever, but you plant a little seed right here, a little there, drop a little something on them, you know, like that, and give them time to grow. Now, I'll give you an example of planting seeds, a gentle seed. You're an addict, you come to me, you're my brother, cousin, friend, whoever, my mother, whoever, tell me your boyfriend done left you. Mom, I wonder if that has anything to do with your drinking. But offhandedly, you know, without criticism, Mom, I wonder. Someone comes to you broke. I wonder if that has anything to do with your using. You lost your house. You lost your housing. I wonder if that has anything to do with your use. You're laid up in the hospital. I wonder, does that have anything to do with your use? You're arrested again. I wonder if that has anything to do with your use. Not criticizing, I just wonder. Now, the sweet thing about today's age, right? Now, this might be not so offhandedly, but it can be offhandedly. I call it like a 45 shot. That's the big gun. I take a video of you while you pissed out, laid out, nodding, all snapshot, selfie. Now, I ain't gonna criticize you, but yo, this excuse me, almost slipped one out there. This is some funny stuff here. You showed them that video. What do you think about this crazy stuff? That's that offhandedly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I could do. But you gotta make the decision whether there's a problem and not. Without critique, I don't know if there's a problem. Okay, let's go to the next stage, second stage of addiction denial. An addict denies the need for ongoing sobriety after completing treatment. They believe they can do it alone. They believe that they are not powerless over a substance. Okay? So what are some tips to help an addict overcome this stage of denial where they believe that, I did the treatment. I did my 28-day, 21-day, 6 months, inpatient, outpatient. I don't need to practice sobriety no longer. And I'm not powerless over that substance no longer. Now that's a form of denial, but what can we do to help maybe break that chain, that spot?
Like I said before, it's no destination to recovery. It's a lifetime journey.
Okay.
And anybody that comes out of programming think now, I can use again and I can control it, a controlled substance.
Mm-hmm.
Basically only tells you that they're thinking out of control again.
Ooh. Amen. Anybody else? How can we move somebody fresh out of recovery and they think they can go back to using?
I think that they have to realize or have to see the amount of years that they was using compared to the amount of time that they had in recovery.
Mm-hmm.
If you use for 20 years, but you've only got 6 months in recovery, how did that balance out?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a lot longer than 6 months to regain and restore everything that you've lost in those 20 years of addiction.
Okay.
And also, like you said earlier, recovery comes from a holistic approach, physically, mentally, and spiritually. It's about taking care of the whole person.
Right. Okay. Anybody else? So they come out of recovery, and they think they're ready to go. I'm gonna give you some right here. Something I thought about. Some.
They come out of treatment and go into recovery, right?
They come out of recovery and think they can actually use again. They don't have to practice sobriety. They're not powerless over the substance. That's what they're thinking. They're just fresh out of treatment, and they think, I'm okay. I'm normal. So I'm gonna start with this. Wait a minute. Back up a little bit. You wanted to say something, Jim?
Well, see, I look at recovery as something that you do when you come from treatment.
Okay. Amen.
Okay. While you're in treatment, you're in abstinence. The drug is not there. You're abstinence from it. Okay, so you're going along with what the program says that you have to do. But the recovery part comes once you step outside and you're back in society where the drugs is. So now you have to recover from the lifestyle that you lived by taking up new ways of thinking, new way of living, new ways of doing things, and that goes by being connected with either an outpatient program, a group of people such as NA, AA, or whatever that's going to help you stay on that recovery path, okay? Because recovery is going to be ongoing. It's the same thing with a cancer patient, okay? The cancer's gone, but they're in the recovery stage. And these things that they have to do to maintain that the cancer stay cancer-free. So that's the difference that I look at recovery as being something totally different than abstinence.
Okay. So what I'm aiming at also, I agree with everything you said 100%, is what can I do? Now, so this question at this stage, this person think they don't have to practice sobriety, they're not powerless over substance. So the key issue here is they're not able to set who they are, right? Who they really are. Okay, so so it's like trying to make a bitter pill sweet, okay? So it's an ugly picture, but this is the truth, right? Which will set you free. So here's a little I was thinking like this. So God tried to get the person to understand that God created their brain to be more sensitive to drugs and alcohol, all right, than other people. It's like an allergic reaction. Okay, some people are allergic to penicillin, some people are allergic to pollen and stuff like that. You just happen to be created by God to be allergic to alcohol and drugs. And because of that, your brain is more sensitive, all right? And you, because of that, you can develop a tolerance reaction. You can develop a dependency reaction. You can develop a powerless reaction. You can develop an addiction action because of the sensitivity to drugs and alcohol. That does not make the person less than. But if they continue to use, eventually that will make the person less than. And then also they talk about thinking they can do it alone. Well, we were created not to work alone. That's why we have families. That's why we have associations. That's why we have strangers. We're not made to do things alone, so there's no shame in all that. And above all, we have the power of God, our higher power. And to throw that aside would be completely ridiculous. I'm going to hit one real quick, and then we're going to wrap this up, right? And then another level of denial is stages of denial stage 3, where the person is not willing to go at all lengths for their recovery. They're not really say, no matter what, my recovery comes first. Now, and a lot of them will go to their family. They'll put they're concerned about family, work, business before their recovery. And I would like to say this, right? A person in that situation, I look at it like this. Our friends, our family, work, business, recovery, and process in Christianity is like a house. And I see it like this. Our friends, our family, and workplace and business is the walls, the floors, the ceilings, the roof. But I see Christianity and the recovery process as the foundation. That foundation goes, you ain't got to worry about your family. You ain't got to worry about the job. Everything else will collapse with it. And it's all about accepting, getting the person to accept who you are. You're uniquely created. However, you have a sensitivity to alcohol and drugs, which will cause a allergic reaction. And that's just how you are. And just accepting that. Gentlemen, we're close to wrapping this up. I want to say thank you again. I look forward to continuing working with y'all and giving our people some tips. And I want to close with this message. God gave us life. His Son gave his life. So let's try not to waste life. And this is Open Eyes. And remember, open eyes save
Lives.
Thank you.
Don't, 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 don't,